step by step. What a wonderful metaphysical message there is in that song. And in addition to that, I have an exercise program that I do, and Sunday is my day off from the regular routine that I have. However, I'm still required to put in the number of steps. So thank you for the little movement that that supports me in getting my steps in. I say welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. To those who are joining us via Facebook and via our YouTube channel, thank you for selecting and including Monterey as part of your spiritual upliftment. For our Facebook followers, we invite you to please like, comment, share, and follow our page. And for our YouTube viewers, please subscribe, like, and share to our channel. We're grateful for the support of all of you for spreading our message of the science of mind and ancient wisdom. During the week, I take a look and see what experience in my life that I might want to share with you. And so this week's little humor that I created for myself, I'm calling the saga of the missing, or the saga of the rogue trash can. The saga of the rogue trash can. When we put our trash out for pickup, we place it at one corner of the building. And next door to our building is a hotel. And they place their trash pickup near their driveway. So there's the space of, the frontage of the distance between our building and their driveway. And so Tuesday, I came in and, well, the trash was picked up on Tuesday morning. So Tuesday I came in and I had a meeting and got involved in Zoom and doing other things and actually forgot to go down and bring the trash can in. So 4 o'clock, I'm headed down to the farmer's market and it dawns on me, oh, bring the trash can in. I walk out, there's no trash can. I'm going, what the is going on here? And I'm thinking, now I know people are doing strange things with what they collect that doesn't belong to them, but a trash can? Go figure, a trash can. Long story short, some of the staff next door at the hotel had also picked up our trash can and had taken it and put it with theirs. So we had a big laugh about that when I went over to inquire. I just said, no, maybe just go check and see if they have it over there. And so they called me Wednesday morning and said, yes, we have it as part of ours. So we had a nice laugh out of that. So that was my saga for the week, this rogue trash can. Where did it go? And that's a nice segue into our October theme, which we are continuing this morning, playing with paradox. When we look at some of the polarities in our lives, we also need to talk about getting comfortable with discomfort, which is the title for our talk this morning, Getting Comfortable with Discomfort. We begin by asking, if we are attached to certain beliefs, ideas, perspectives, is there a wrong way or a right way about doing things? What if there was a third way to navigate our lives that would bring us limitless benefits? The good news, there is. Science of Mind teaches us to embrace the polarity of our humanity and our divinity by finding a third way to navigate our lives. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And Ernest Holmes expands on this statement in his little book called This Thing Called You. And he writes, keep the doorway of your mind open, feeling, thinking, communing with life. Know that it fills you with light and with power. And so keeping the doorway of our mind open allows us to recognize that if we are focusing solely on oneness and the big picture, if we're doing that, then we miss out on the opportunity to reach out and to love one another at a deeper level. We can get so caught up in the world's suffering and challenges that we forget about our divinity and miss out on the joy of being infinite and eternal. Now, it may not land well with some of you, this idea of being infinite and eternal, because we usually ascribe that to Source, God, this higher consciousness, whatever it is we identify with. But I encourage you to remember that we are one with this power. So all of its qualities are the same as ours. Only God, higher consciousness, expresses these qualities at a much higher level. But we're all one with this divinity. We are infinite and we are eternal. Attachment to one perspective or another causes suffering. To ease suffering requires that we remain open to understanding alternative perspectives that support us in finding this third way, seeing the benefits of all aspects of a seeming polarity. Again, in this thing called you, Ernest Holmes writes, there is a perfect coordination of every part of my being because the spirit of my perfection is acting in and through me. There is a perfect condition in every part of my being because spirit, the spirit of perfection, is acting in and through me. Another affirmation of our oneness with spirit. You know, our society invites us to, actually it demands, it's more than an invitation, it quite frequently demands that we pick a side. And sometimes we may not fit one side or the other, but we find ourselves, excuse me, we find ourselves in a position, let me get my water. Excuse me. We find ourselves in those situations where if we're demanded to pick a side, that we wind up in a situation where neither side fits. Thank you, Amy. So here are some examples of where we find ourselves picking a side. Morning person or night owl? Coffee or tea? Democrat or Republican? Or independent? Cats or dogs? Introvert or extrovert? Now, once we've chosen our side, our preference, our belief system, our way of thinking, or whatever it is that calls us to action, we begin to see only the benefits of our side, and we see the defects on the other side. Choosing a side leads us to confirmation bias, and we only see what validates our position and our point of view. Rather than being open to the vulnerability of being wrong, self-assessing and changing our views, we double down on our side of the polarity. Where we have little to lose, shifting back and forth between two or more polarities can be easy. For example, preferring coffee over tea. If you prefer coffee and find a tea that you really love, it becomes easy to shift your perspective and go along your way. However, this becomes more challenging when there is more to lose, such as something we've invested a lot of money or time into, or even our energy into. When we're faced with a polarity or an opposition to that, there's a tendency to double down on our side of the polarity, making it more challenging to change our perspective. And it becomes nearly impossible to shift our perspective when we discover that something we identify with is no longer working for us. And this is where we find ourselves clinging to the past. I remember growing up around elders. They would always talk about the way things were as if that was the only way. So this is an example of clinging to the past. When we overly focus on the benefits of our side, even if they are no longer, if we're no longer experiencing those benefits, we push away the other side, citing its overuses and problems, even as long as we benefit from what it brings. So you can see where that dichotomy is set up, where we are opposing something because of some ideology, some belief, something that has been instilled in us. Even though it may be bringing a benefit to us, we are so fixed on our particular point of view that we miss out or ignore the benefit of what is being brought to us. Recognizing discomfort leads to a third way. The third way is a way to navigate our lives that requires us to be vulnerable by looking at what no longer is working and seeing the benefits of the side we have pushed away. So we're taking our lives in perspective and we're saying, okay, this still works, so I'm going to hang with this. I'm getting benefits from this. This is working moderately, and I may loosen up a little bit and relax a little bit, let go a little bit. This is totally not working. And so I'm at a choice point to say, okay, I'm willing to let this go, and I'm willing to see the benefit of what I have pushed away and to invite that into my life. Ernest Holmes, in the August 1971 issue of Science of Mind magazine, writes this: "And let us not forget the importance of keeping our minds in a state of good-natured flexibility. Yes, we must be flexible, tolerant, as well as positive and affirmative." So even prior to 1971, this is one of the foundations of our teaching, is to keep, Ernest Holmes used the phrase, remain open at the top. And this is an example of how we keep our minds flexible and good-natured, tolerant as well as positive and affirmative. Finding a middle ground requires changing our beliefs, our labels, our ideas, or in some cases, our identity. This middle ground utilizes the benefits of both sides of the polarity without suffering or overuse of either side. A third way requires balancing our time by ourselves and also with others. There's a time for us to go alone and to be in the stillness, to be in communion with our own lives. We do that through the practice of meditation. And meditation can take on many different forms. It's that time that we dedicate to just communing with our inner source and reconnecting with that which brings us alive. By practicing and navigating and discovering the amount of time we need for each to be with ourselves and to be with others, each polarity is fulfilled. We receive all of the benefits that both offer: great friendships, support, a richer life, self-care, health, and others. This is what allows us to find a third way. And so this morning, I invite you to just reflect on these takeaways and some call to action, if you will. And I begin with this quote by Carol DeWitt: "Challenges are the way to grow. Challenges are the way to grow." So continue to play with the paradoxes and polarities in life, holding gently to our beliefs, our ideas, and even our identity allows us to assess what is working and what is not working in our lives. And you notice that we're emphasizing here, continue to play. I remember, in fact, I was having a conversation with our guests this morning before service, and we were talking about David Bruner and our connection with David Bruner. And it brought to mind, I did a workshop with Dr. David Bruner many, many years ago. And my takeaway from that was an affirmation that David uses for himself. I take my spirituality seriously. I play with my life. And so the message that we're bringing to you is to remember to play with these, not be so serious, not be so caught up in having to identify with a certain spiritual way of living and being. Play, have fun. See if there's a third way that utilizes the benefits of both aspects by looking at those areas of our lives where we may be holding tightly to one polarity and villainizing the other. Discover solutions to the significant challenges in the world that by implementing third way thinking in our lives individually and collectively. This is where we gain the benefit of spending time alone, refreshing and restoring and renewing our own life. And then from that full cup, we go out and engage with others. And collectively, in consciousness, and also in our actions, we find a way to be with and to influence and implement changes in our lives and in our world. Embracing change is inevitable for growth. Artist Loris Lorne says this: people who wonder if the glass is half empty or full miss the point. We're often asked that question, is the glass half full? Is the glass half full or half empty? The glass is refillable. Think about that. Whether we perceive it as half empty or half full, it is refillable. And so together we can shift pain into wonder and into love. It is up to us to create the connection consciously and intentionally. And this leads us now to our affirmation for the week, and I invite us to say this together. I am open to possibility as I discover multiple perspectives. And I invite us to take in a breath together. Let's just breathe in collectively and release. Taking in another breath and releasing. And taking in a third breath and releasing into the stillness and into the calm of this place and time. And I invite you to know with me that the glass is refillable because there is only one power, there is only one presence, there is only one essence. And I refer to that as the allness of God, this inclusive allness that created everything and is holding everything in perfect harmony. And I know that as my cup is refilled, and as I move into that place of living from the overflow of my fullness, is where I recognize and I remember that I am an individualized expression of pure spirit. And as I affirm this truth for myself, I affirm this truth for all. Individualized expressions of pure spirit, each with a refillable cup, overflowing with love and peace and joy and harmony. I speak my word of blessing this morning for places where people are gathering in the name and nature of the one life, recognizing that we sometimes travel parallel roads and sometimes our roads and our lives intersect with each other. And it is at all points along this path that we remember that we are one with all that there is. I speak right livelihood out into the atmosphere. For those who are seeking right and perfect shelter, those who are seeking right and perfect employment, those who are seeking right and perfect relationships, whatever it is that is in the recesses of our heart, I know that this infinite intelligence knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. The only question we need to ask is, what is my next step? We be still and we listen. I speak my word of blessing this morning for those who are experiencing transitions in their lives. A loved one that may have closed the chapter on this aspect of mortal life and has stepped over into immortality. Or other transitions that are causing pain or grief, knowing that as we move through those experiences, that life continues to unfold for our highest and for the highest and best of all that there is. And as I give thanks for this and so much more, I release this word back into that law which always says yes. And I invite you to affirm this with me as we say together, and so it is. And just a quick reminder, don't go home with a problem. We have prayer requests on our prayer table that I invite you to fill out and leave in our prayer chest for the ministers and the practitioners to pray with you as well as pray for you. For those who would like to schedule an appointment with a practitioner or a minister, our contact information is on our website and it is also in our weekly newsletter. We also partner with our Center for Spiritual Living Ministry of Prayer, an online service that provides prayer support. And we also partner with Silent Unity for their 24-hour prayer ministries. So don't take a problem out of here. Leave it. And once you leave it, don't turn around and pick it up. That's the key. Sometimes we will let something go, but then we travel down that road to see, oh, well, did it make it to this point? Did it make it to this point? It's like following GPS. When we release a prayer request, when we release whatever it is that is on our heart, release it into the law, knowing that the answer is always yes. Now it is time to share in our prosperity. We have an affirmation of abundance that I invite us to say together. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so there are ways to participate in the circulation and in the flow of abundance. Thank you for the way that you continue to support the center. Your donations may be sent in by mail to 400 West Franklin Street, Monterey, California, 93940. You may text to give at 831-246-9694, or you may also donate on our website, www.montereycsl.org. Thank you for supporting us, and for those who are here in the center this morning, we have a donation basket, a donation box on the green hospitality table, and we invite you to leave your offerings there. And as we say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be viewing, to our Facebook and our YouTube viewers, we invite you to return next week, continuing our October theme, Playing with Paradox. And the talk title is Shaking Up Our Worldview. And again, we invite you to like, comment, share, follow, and subscribe to help us support getting this message out. And so we say thank you and God bless you to our virtual community.